I don't know everyone's mental health background here. Mine is maybe a little bit different. I have struggled with clinical depression, high functioning anxiety, PTSD since I was a kid. So going into owning a business, for me, it was really just kind of owning like, hey, this is who I am. This is a part of me. It's not going to go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Peter Neal, and this is the Entrepreneurial Roundtable for Unsinkable, hosted here in Montreal by the BDC. I'm joined by an incredible group of entrepreneurs from across the country to discuss that meeting point between mental health and entrepreneurship.
Years ago, I think it was around 2017, our company was starting to grow. I was working till 3 a.m. every day and waking up at 6 a.m. At the time, I had a 1-year-old boy and another one on the way. Long story short, I started to feel different. I was starting to get tired during the day. And then one day, I fell asleep in my studio in the middle of the day. My team knew right away there's something wrong. Lo and behold, I go to the doctor. And by this time too, I'd gained like 50 pounds because I was just not eating all day, then eating at night and staying up all night. Anyhow, long story short, I went to the doctor and they told me, you know what? You're a diabetic. So I had worked myself into sickness. And I had to then go to my team and explain to them what was happening with me. That opened up the floor for my team to go like, we've been watching you, like you just have to ask us for help. Like today I felt amazing sitting with other leaders, hearing their stories and telling my story. It was like therapy, it was therapeutic to understand vividly that someone else is experiencing what I'm experiencing. And even better yet, some people had the answers to some of the conundrums I had.
Athletes that are at the professional level or even the amateur level, they all have coaches around them at all times. They need the help to become the best versions of themselves. And that's what got me to the therapy. At first, I was I don't need this. I'm all good. I respect my partners for doing it. But I then realized that I want to get better at life and not just business. I want to be a better person. I want to be a better communicator. I want to be a better person, understand clarity and listen. And I think that it just gives you a different image and a way of perspective to see something that you might have not seen before. And I think that that's changed my life, and forever I'll be grateful for this individual and others that do this for a living to help others. And it's like, you got to get your own coach, be the best athlete, be the best version of yourself. Why would you not want to do that? That's my big question.
I used to tell myself that I had crippling anxiety and, severe rejection dysphoria, right? Like these things that you try to name and you call it out. And then, through talking to my therapist, who was just a connector to talking to another practitioner, it was, wait a minute, you might be ADHD. Maybe it's not, intense anxiety. It's a symptom of the ADHD. And then you're able to name these things and recognize them for what they are. ADHD has shaped my approach to just systems at work and how I approach entrepreneurship, in the sense that I've taken time to actually re-architect a lot of how I show up and how I work every day. For example, I used to be so hard on myself if I wouldn't show up at 9 o'clock, and get started right away. But who made the arbitrary rule that I have to be, right at the desk at 9 o'clock? It's my business.
What's something you've had to unlearn about what it means to be a successful entrepreneur?
Well, I didn't know what an entrepreneur was, so that's a gift. But once I started learning about it, I had already made something in my mind what it was. It was just do things on my own terms, create my own rules, make enough money to live. To me, it was that simple.
Yeah.
And then I went and complicate things by learning, and then did what you did for my first business. And I had 3 kids. My marriage was crumbling. It was like, oh my God, it's all happening now. So then I take all of that heavy glass shattering, all that stuff, and I sweep it up. I get myself together. I get a real job. And I'm like, oh, so this is kind of boring. Fast forward, I started working with entrepreneurs. It becomes beautiful again. Wow. Oh, I remember this. I remember this. And I take everything that I learned from the first failed business and then create what I created now. So I think I unlearned that no matter what size you get, you can still do things your own way.
Yeah.
You're always taught to fit in, and even when you start a business, everyone tells you go this way because everyone else does it, or we're in consumer, you and I, or we're all in consumer here. You should do it just because everyone else done that. That is the worst advice you could listen to in your life. I had to learn that we are each great for who we are as individuals, and that's what our superpower is. And ever since I learned that, it's changed my entire business. It's changed my entire personal life because we are our greatest assets. Not me trying to be you. You're going to crush that game of me. I can't be you. I can't be you. I can't be you. Can't be you. But what I could is be me.
You know, there's a lot of great truths in that. And I think, you know, there have been times for me when I've advocated for mental health. I had a horrible one that crushed me for a hot minute, but I was putting something out there. It was definitely, you know, being very vulnerable and talking about my very close suicide attempts, and someone said, "Oh, you're just doing this to push your brand." And yeah. Oh. When I first put a note out there, my dad had said, "What's next? A billboard telling everybody you're crazy?" That, and then what this guy said, you know, I was very concerned. Yeah, it's not easy.
I think when Pete was sharing his story about his the reaction to his suicide attempts really touched my heart, and I just hope he's okay now.
I think something that I've tried to focus on as well in those similar situations where you're sharing your story and people are looking at it with that negative light is that even if you are impacting one person or giving one person the courage to share their story, and that causes a ripple effect, you know, you're creating that pathway. And I think even if it's one person, that one person could impact another, who could impact 3, 10, thousands of people, hopefully one day. But you created that pathway, and I think it's a really beautiful thing.
Well, that's it. Someone once told me, this was years ago, but each one teach one. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And it's been that was liberating for me, because now I'm not trying to serve anyone but one person. And since that, you let it go, we go back to just for funsies, because now I'm just talking to you two.
Yeah.
Just one-on-one, and then you're gonna do that. So I think
that one person can also be ourselves too, and we forget that, right? If it's liberating for you, then that's also a beautiful thing.
I have a ripple effect story about Jake. You don't even know the story, but I'm going to share with you. It's about you.
Excited.
Yeah.
me too.
This is not planned, by the way.
Tea time.
This is not planned.
I just met Jake today, but obviously been following his journey for a while. And we just launched into Whole Foods. Teas launched into Whole Foods last winter.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. That was 2 years in the making. And my CPG friends know the hardest part isn't getting on the shelf, it's staying on the shelf, right? So I showed up to every location, and it just, horrible timing. It was a crazy snowstorm when I got there. So every Whole Foods was like empty. It was like tumbleweeds going through. And I'm standing on like the concrete in the refrigeration section, and I'm eating some midday snacks to get through it. Anyway, I get on the train and I'm eating my chocolate bar, and I take a picture of it and I tag Midday Squares. I'm like, survived my Whole Foods demos thanks to Midday Squares. And then, you know, it was terrible Wi-Fi in the train, and I get this like scratchy, weird video reply. I'm like, what brand is sending a video reply on Instagram? That's so weird, but cool. And it's Jake's face. And it's like, hey, Sheena, thanks so much for Jake Energy for shouting out Midday Squares. Like, your support from you, like, means the world and whatever. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, you just ripple effect. Like, you just like gave me a bit of confidence. This guy's like my, you know, my CPG hero.
I felt like I honestly want to cry, and I know it sounds strange, but it was so inspirational because this is what we do. We don't just sell chocolate bars. We try to make some more impact than just selling a chocolate bar. And this was a live moment. It just kind of gave me that like jolt of like, oh my God, like what we get to do every day is a privilege, and it makes sense. And in that conversation, just overall was super genuine and vulnerable.
If someone's building something right now and feels like they're the only one struggling, what would you like them to know?
They're never alone. No one is ever alone in it. What you're going through is going to feel really hard and difficult, but I think it's important to grow through it. And I mean grow through it. Use the experience, feel it, never invalidate your feelings, but grow right through it.
The thing that keeps me going during hard times is the fact that I know
that they will pass. If it's passed before, it will pass again. In order to be empathetic to others, you actually have to start with yourself. So you going to a therapist is actually you giving yourself a break. You taking the time to understand what you're going through so that you can then serve from that space as well.
So often we think that we have to do everything, but when you lead with empathy and you have, more of an open mind, you've got the ability to share. We can all be well. We can all be good together. I would love to thank all of you for being here, and on behalf of BDC and Unsinkable Stories, which are doing an incredible job. Thank you.
Thank you.